Hi Scorpio, so I'm going to talk to you about you being transited by Jupiter in the next year. Wow, well, you've done a lot of stuff wrong, or you did a lot of stuff right. But here on the cutoff date, 10th of October, it isn't really that important. It isn't. The main thing is that Jupiter served its purpose in your 12th house. You have served your purpose too. And this is the death of you and the rebirth in a huge way. So when you are looking now at 2017, don't rush. That's for me. Don't betray yourself. You know? You may not look at yourself in a very, very worthy light. You might not be coming out of this October feeling like a delightful person. You might actually feel or find something very wrong inside. And that's true. Everything to do with Scorpio is dark. And that isn't bad. It is just a voyage of space and time that you've come through with. Then, by the end of October, you may already kind of understand why. There is another side of you. Why? The why. There is another side of you that's insatiable, Scorpio. And this is going to get rejected or connected to something that you didn't actually think was yours. It's an interesting little slippery slope. By recognizing that you don't know yourself, October provides you a new path. You might already see that by this year, 2017, you've got something else. And it's always kind of been yours, you just forgot. Like, you might find or fish out those right people. You suddenly get noticed and understood. You no longer abbreviated, you no longer shunned. But by fighting for it, fighting. We had a full moon Aries as well. If you still, but this is the longer scheme. You're fighting for your worth, fighting for your right to party, fighting for your lover, fighting for your friends, fishing out things to be angry about, fishing out things to be proud of. Things like that can become almost like a commitment that you do not need. For example, today I've decided to do something with my art, which is just bumming around really. And I approached a city gallery, and they have an exhibition on called the occult culture or something, a culture. And it is a shame. It is a shame to experience both that type of culture becoming mainstream without any understanding of itself, and also becoming ashamed to myself that I even had to comment. And I write them this email saying that I don't really agree with the exhibition. Of course, they get scared and run away, don't write back. And this happens a lot more than I'd like to admit. But this whole edge, this little edge, you know, this little whip on the tail, you know, if you still got it. And if you are young or young at heart, Scorpio, you might have it as mostly the predominantist part, the most predominant, sorry, I'm mature. The most predominant part of you might be that edge. It's inside, it's outside, it's a little cringe, it's a little grit on the teeth, it's a little insane part which doesn't like it, doesn't like things. This isn't good, but it's yours. If you've come out of October feeling, that person, or that is okay, that's not yours either. So we are here trying to expand you out of it. This whole year, this whole idea of Jupiter in your sign isn't truly about you, how can I say, becoming. You know, it's like Dracula rising from the ashes, you know, becoming. It's not so much about, hey, it is more about, it's more to do with you understanding this edge that makes you hurt and love at the same time. Knowing and feeling that edge of pleasure and pain. Sex is great for some of us. Just to notice what our body responds to. Where is that sight or sound? What is that little flavor? What is the tiny little taste of something or somebody that we can't go without? What is our addiction cycle? The door just opened by itself, just a second. So, Scorpio, this is, how can I say, this is not for yourself to condemn yourself to a purpose. For Libra, it was, and it wasn't just that, it was about drama, because Libra instinctively energizes through you because it's trying to be more like you, but it doesn't have enough of you. That's the previous sign. It doesn't have enough, which is what it's been about for Libras this year, knowing your worth, standing your ground, recognizing how much you need, wanting more, raising your bar, values, what you feel in yourself, updating your image, updating your wardrobe, updating your man, updating your female. You know, like making yourself in a bigger, much larger scheme acquired, you know, required and respected. That was the Libra Jupiter for Libra. And for you to a degree as well. This is not the time, how can I say, it is not the time where we are now on this planet as well, yeah? As you can sort of maybe feel, I'm beyond time, you know, I'm born in a different age, la la. Okay, this is not the time to stick out. It is not. It's a great time to be resistant and, in a sense, essentially change. So it's almost like you are taking yourself out a little bit, or understanding that sometimes a fingerprint for you is a deep wound for another, but in the same sense, kind of like resisting, but applying. And it might be that the smallest gesture, or the kindest word, the little gift, or the small smile is what makes you unique in a situation where others are looking for you. That's the irony here. Others are looking for you. Where do I find? Where do I feel? Where do I heal? Where do I see? Especially if you're a doctor, a priest, a shaman, a guru, any kind of middleman between yours and mine. If you are the middle person, like myself sometimes, that's what people think I am, which is not true. That's okay. If you're the middleman, that's okay. You have people come to you perhaps more than often during this time, but don't get taken, don't get carried away. You know these types of people that walk out on stage and they get really insane about a purpose or a product or something, and they've got this time, you know what I mean? They have this time. Every politician and leader have certain times allocated to them to really be able to step up. And quite often, ironically, when you're pinnacled, when you're the pinnacle, that's a very, 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 very nice time to step back. As you step forward, you're letting, it's almost like you're taking your unconscious up and you're taking your conscious back. So me, my has to go down, and the part of you that's almost like, wow, really? That's incredible. That can go up. But by being both, you can do more. So that's the harsh one. If you are recognizing that you, for example, in a sense, a politician or a miracle maker, and you're trying so hard, or you're an artist, or you're some kind of like a focused person, and you're vocal energy, or you're somebody who is incredibly insane or incredibly insatiable in some sense, good for you. Don't fight that. If you've got it, do it with another, perhaps, you know, teach another how to dance. Sexual experiences are perfect. If you are still on edge, if you're still like Dracula, you know, risen from the dead, you know, if you're still, emotional, you know, that's okay, that's good. Take it with another, you know, make an art piece, you know, make a little pact, make an emotional feeling. Don't make any children. Why? I'm so sorry, this is really precise. In this type of cycle, children don't come for no reason, they come for an extra mind, and quite often the special kids, they don't have the, how can I say, the right capacity to love sometimes, and we, the special kids, you know, the Wunderkind or whatever, don't usually have the right space to really grow and evolve as a human being should, and we sort of branch out and get all crazy and erratic. So in this type of transit, and I'm really sorry to have mentioned this, it isn't such a good time to form a family bond or an emotional, creative, connective, feeling, loving, caring bond. I've already said in an October video that the time to make a really nice, loving, caring family is done. There was a time, if you're somebody who's looking, there was a time 2 or 3 years ago it started. There was a really nice portal until about October this year, you know, to expand, maybe a little bit later, even to December. There is a nice nesting portal, but from about January, February, I'm seeing as we go into the dog year, it is a fight. It is a strange, it is, oh, and quite often the families that are conceived, the partnerships of the children conceived under this frequency, they don't really have the time to wait sometimes, but neither do they have the patience to be. It's not really a loving, slithering time, because if we're looking at family cancer, it's a slithery energy. It's not a slithering time. We just like slime down. How about that? It is more, because we're all bacteria on this planet. It is more like a rage. It's an involvement. If you can see like sound waves, it's more like this. This time is more epic. It is more insane. And even if you don't show it, and I would encourage you not to go full throttle into here I am forever, because we're structuring here as well. You're a fixed energy, but it's not just that. Sometimes what you've seen in this year stays. It is more like about connecting to another. It is like a magic in the dark. It is about tantric experience. It's about losing yourself. It's about these experiences where it's almost like your head peels open and underneath there is nothing but stars. Well, beneath it, between it, underneath your ego, within your rage or within your sexuality or within your art, there's nothing but stars. And in a sense, innocence is an important part of this year for you and I. We have a lot of probably similar aspects, because I've got 5 things in Scorpio to really shed. They'll be truly. Yes, there are people that can, in this time, almost be forced like a wave to get on stage and speak. There are many, many, many mindful people as well that don't want to, but sort of get to shine. And there's us also, you know, the one that is so deep in the scorpionic frequency that we can't abide by normal social rule. We cannot just have kids and experience life. We have it as a poetry. We have a poetic or an artistic expression which isn't real to anyone else, but we find our joy in a mutated or mutation-based mind, where it's like a psychedelic. It's like full-on constant psychedelia. And that's not about being right or wrong, about being the mental guru or the normal, nice humankind. It is more in the between the lines here, because where I'm feeling this year is taking us Scorpios is a place that's very special, because in a sense, we, I feel, will become incredibly kosher for somebody or something, even though you might not see yourself there yet. You might, for example, father a child, yeah, or you might adopt a child, and you suddenly, children, maybe more than one, and you just suddenly understand, I'm needed, actually, you know, like I always thought that I was a bit of a heretic and a martyr, but I'm absolutely free. I'm absolutely free and fine when I'm just here, subdued. You may find yourself in a situation where you're in incredible sexual tension, only to find that you're almost like a mothering energy to this person in the end, and you have a lot of flair as a hospitable wife instead of just a shag. You might feel that for some reason what started off as a business idea or like a vulturous temptation becomes your heart and soul. For example, you might design t-shirts and think, I can make a lot of money out of this. This could be great. This could be a little joke on the world. Yeah, you know, I make these t-shirts in China for $2 each and I sell them for 20. But you may actually find that you don't want to do that anymore. That you want to make your own prints, and you for some reason decided to increase sales through somehow social media and creating wall art, you know, like background art for computers, or creating laptop covers or something that doesn't require that much labor or something like that. And you might actually find yourself dominant in a field that's incredible because it is a superficial field, but in the sense it is also incredibly like comforting. There is a lot of Scorpios I feel that are finding release and no longer any weird crazy temptation, and just wood carving wood, painting somebody else's nails, doing their homework, just sitting in the yard and meditating. We are growing old. We're growing old. And then we die. And by this, and I'm sorry this sounds scary, with a Scorpio feeling, with a Scorpio energy, the beauty of its death isn't the end. And I feel fear of endings as well. Scorpios, they kind of fear the end, and so they come forward towards it, grab it, you know, by the shirt, say, "Who are you, end? Why are you here?" The end comes to a sense. I feel for many of us, we might find, oh my gosh, this is the end. But within this energy, there's also a brand new start. For example, you might start a career in a completely different field, but you have to end your previous one. You may start to become maternal, suddenly decide I want to be a mom. So there's a start of a family perhaps that then creates itself 2 or 3 years later. Maybe you might find that, but you might lose your ambition, or you might accidentally gain ambition or gain a purpose through losing a friend. But it is a subtle energy. It's not like dum da dum dum dum, I'm the best, I'm the best. It's not like that. It is more like why have I never tried this? Or like, this person's been with me my whole life and I never looked them in the face. Or wow, I need to really calm down. I really need to calm down. And in this very, 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 very nice beginning, because this is your first house, you might feel that this end and this newfound light can complete you almost forever until next time. Until next time, because this is pretty much a cycle for maybe about 6 or 7 years for some people, and for some people it is for a lot longer, and for some people it's just 2 or 3 years. There might be a momentum starter. Jupiter expands. There might be a momentum starter. For example, you start your own brand of clothes. You know, you become a humanitarian person at the same time. You create artwork. You know, you just want to sit and you want to look at the sun, or you want to feel your skin. You want to feel what it is like to just be inside yourself. And that is a huge enlightening factor that this year I feel can bring. But if you're fighting me, you're fighting someone else. Like, if you're fighting, like, I'm starting to understand that I also fight this idea. The idea of family and marriage, especially childbirth, freaks me out more than death, you know? If you're fighting this idea of being a program for something, if you are, you know, situated in a feeling like, say, this is a bad thing, like you're making art and you're fully in the art, and your mind, your heart, your soul, everything is in the art, but you're saying, who the hell needs this? And that little stinger comes in and goes, what the hell are you doing? Like, who needs this? Or like you start, for example, exploring your body, and suddenly you put a stinger on it saying, I'm no one, I don't need this. Or you connect with a person and you actually start falling in love for no reason, and then you break yourself up about it and you tell yourself to throw it away and to do something better, something worthier. If you are still, how can I say, shaking yourself, pulling yourself backwards or forwards, if you are pushing yourself around, this is good as well. It can just find its own expression, and suggestion is to know poise. So it's like, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. It's like, know how to address this energy. You know, for some of us it might be that we do this thing that we do and we just have to give it up. Like, I'm so sorry, like, publish this book now. You know, it's almost like you do your writing and then you just, it's not so good for publishing for you done things this year, but things that you had from last year's, you know, like, oh my gosh, I've had so many dreams, like say I painted like 20 paintings that I never showed anybody, like it's perfect. But if you are not interested in yourself and you're pushing yourself for a purpose and you're like, you know, stinging and hurting, like for example, you're making art and you're not sleeping and say you're working with pins and you keep on stabbing yourself, careful with that. Stabbing yourself, burning yourself, falling over, falling down the stairs, hurting your head, anything to do with first house, anything to do with your physical body being injured, careful. If you don't want yourself to succeed, if you don't want yourself to thrive, but your purpose to thrive, if you don't care about how much time it's taking you to write a book, but at the same time you're like, oh, I don't want to publish it, I can't, careful with that because your body might take its toll. So also past life things, you know, like say, never adored yourself enough to wear beautiful clothes, or you never adored yourself enough to be in the company of beautiful people, you never adored yourself enough to be adored. It's the time, it's the time now to face those things, and I hope that Jupiter treats you kindly. Thank you so much. Here's my book. This is my first book. I've got another 2 books, and I might be publishing things that I wrote later in the year as well that already exist. So if you'd like to have a look at my books, or if you'd like to have a look at my website, I'll put all the details down below, and I hope to see you sometime. Thanks, Scorpio. Enjoy your transit.